Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a second retrospect looking at a Captain's League game, one from last Saturday's league, LoV versus BTL. It was a really good matchup. It went to 3 games. Probably the most interesting one from my perspective was the one BTL won. I'm hoping to get a BTL member to talk it through one of these days, maybe after the tournament has wound up. But hopefully in the future. Today I have Scarsack, Shield Wall player extraordinaire, frontline of KoV, to sort of talk through this video. Kaseke is very kindly interspliced 2 points of view, so it'll be my point of view and his sort of back to back or sort of all together. So yeah, that's what we've got for you. Hi, Scarsack, how are you doing?
Howdy. Yeah, not too bad.
Howdy, howdy. Thanks for going through the match today. I thought it was an interesting match. Sort of at this point, I just jumped out of the matchmaking with BTL. We got KoVs. I jumped into the Discord, and there was some voting going on about whether to stick or twist. We just about voted to try and use KoVs on this match. What were your thoughts there?
So I think the general community consensus is that KoVs struggle on this map because they don't have dedicated shock infantry. So you can see in this first round, we went, well, make the best of a bad situation. Let's try 5 rebel and 1 shields. And you'll see the results in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you can do it simply, you might as well sort of approach, try it first time.
Yeah, we thought let's see what happens if we try this. And they've got 4 guard, 2 troubles.
Yeah,
so that's a lot of 2-handed axes about to enjoy some rabble.
Yeah, it's a real melee superiority loadout. You could go for 5 of those and 1 tribal. I guess they were anticipating more Khan's Guard, which is why they took the extra shield for the extra arch cover. But as it stood, with that loadout, they were going to win all day.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the kill feed, it's just all Azurai kills there.
Yeah, it used to be quite powerful, the old Rebel Rush, a few versions ago. But I'm actually quite glad it's not the auto win it used to be.
Yeah, the same with Peasants with Landia. I think Rebel and Peasants, they tweaked the ability of the AI that they don't. They're not magicians in close combat anymore.
They're not Jedi Knights dueling you with their use of the Force and psychic reactions, which is good.
Yes, that used to be fun sometimes, trying to kill one peasant. He's got like auto block on. So yeah, second round, obviously we got a bit stomped in that first round.
Yeah, so we went 6 archer units. I'm quite pleased with how this was a big gamble. It's not something which most teams will try on this map because it's generally thought of as being a really bad map for cavalry and archers. So we've gone archers and cav archers.
Yeah, it's I think I've said it at the time. It's high risk, high reward. You're either going to win pretty convincingly, or you're just going to die, just going to melt.
Actually, it's a sort of pet, an indulgence of mine. I really like horse archers on this map, and I know it's sort of counterintuitive. There's lots of corners, there's lots of dips, there's lots of obstacles. But actually, I think you can use it to your advantage with cav archers, especially if you're patient with them and you're keeping your distance and you're thinking about what your fire angle needs to be.
Yeah. One of the things where it's switching back and forth between the perspective of Kaseke playing as Khan's Guard, he was a horse archer. If you look at next time it switches away and then switches back, look where the horse archers are. They'll be in a completely different place than part of the map because they're just so fast.
And we were really helped by BTL not taking cav in this round. I can understand why. It's unusual for players to take this build on this map. It's usually a melee rush, so they've spec for a melee rush, but we've sort of got their number there with this loadout.
Yeah, we are doing our somewhat maligned traditional runaway tactic, which I don't think some people enjoy it, but I think it's interesting. It's a different way to play the game.
Yeah, and BTL they've seen our foot troops are moving through C, and they've gone to C to try and intercept. It's a reasonable thing to do. Fortunately for us, we were too quick, managed to get out there, and they've decided to wait out at sea, it seems, at least for the next few minutes.
Yeah, the call from the reason we went up there because we thought we'd try and maybe shoot them from the bridge a bit, maybe pop out the side and shoot them. But once we got in there, the call from the cavalry was they're all coming into B. Sorry, not B. All coming into into C. Get out of there. So we just kept running, and you can see we ran all the way around through their spawn, and we've basically looped back around, and now we're in front of the bridge.
I hope you guys downloaded Strava because you'll be putting in some serious miles.
Oh yeah.
I really like this this sort of bridge terrain for archers on this map. I think it's archery only really works in my opinion when you have more than one fire angle. So I think most teams, if you've only got one fire angle from your team, you're only shooting from one direction. All it takes is one shield to completely nerf the fact you've taken archers at all. As soon as you open up a second or a third fire angle, teams find it really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's someone that mostly plays shields a lot of the time, and is now dabbling in archery. I kind of know where I need to be going to stop the archers messing me up. But in this situation, there's almost no way you would get me to go out across that bridge. You're just going to. We've got a Khan's Guard on either flank, a Khan's Guard in the middle, and then roving horse archers. Again, one on each flank and one roving around, I think. And you come out on the bridge, you'll be dead before you get to the front, get to the B flag.
Yeah, it's good. I really like how this worked out. It wasn't, like I say, it wasn't my. I don't think it was the best match of the three. I think it's an interesting match if you're a player who wants to see how sort of archers and horse archers can work quite well and how they can defeat a melee blob, even on a sort of melee heavy map or melee favouring map like this. I think the best game was the game BTL 1. It was a really interesting tale of two halves. Valandia was winning the melees and the Empire was winning the skirmishes. So Grendel's got that on his channel, Grendel FTC. Do check that out. But yeah, back to this game. As you say, the Khan's Guard are skirmishing early, and the horse archers are doing this sort of damage. I sort of see mounted archers as sort of a damage over time unit. They're not like an instant damage, instant kill unit. They're sort of you'll get your kills after sustained fire in the second or third minute. It won't be sort of instant.
Yes, I definitely would agree with that. What's a guard take? Unless you're headshotting them, a guard takes 3 arrows ish to die. So yeah, after the first couple of minutes of the game, you're not going to be popping off loads and loads of kills, but definitely after a little bit, when they've all got 1 or 2 arrows stuck in them already, they're just going to start melting. Which I think you see quite a lot of that in a moment. I like Kaseke's angle here. So on the far left, there is another unit of Khans. And one, I think I took my unit up to the slope at A because I thought, was it A? Yeah, A. So I thought I could shoot down, which, yeah, you can just see the arrows flying over, kind of almost over your shoulder.
Such a difficult position for BTL here. They're in the sort of worst possible position to be in with their comp versus our comp, really, just completely surrounded. I think they do bust out at this stage. They do target one of the archers and try and chase them down with 2 units. Reasonable thing to do, but with horse archers, it's just such a challenge for them.
Yeah, you can see the clump of melee there would probably kill all those Khan's Guard quite happily. But there's horse archers behind them. They get kind of melted down a little bit to a point where there's just not that many of them left.
Yeah,
and as you can see at B, there's what we got, probably 3-4 units at B, just killing off whatever's there. So the flag's going to be ours again. Pressure's back on. It's going to be difficult.
So you said there's something I found quite interesting. You said it was a much maligned tactic to run away. What do you mean by that?
People don't like when they play us because the games take so long. I've heard that off a few people because we tend to we move around. We don't necessarily. We will if we have to just charge straight in, but quite often, even in a melee match, we'll try and pick our ground, which I think is a valid historical thing.
You 100%. Yeah,
you don't fight where the enemy wants you to fight. You fight where you want to fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's interesting. I sort of, for me, I enjoy the longer games because there's more of a sort of head game where you're thinking about positioning and psyching people out, and I sort of enjoy that aspect of the competition personally. And it depends what you think the game is. For me, it's sort of the aim of the game is to do as much damage as possible while receiving as little damage as possible. And for me, skirmishing is the way to achieve that.
Yeah, and maneuverability and picking your fights. Like as I said there, roughly half their army whistle at B, roughly half their army chase Kaseke. They're split in half, so we can concentrate where we need to. And Kaseke picked his moment very well there, where he saw there weren't many of them left, and that his Khan's Guard could just charge in. And Khan's Guard are pretty devastating. In what are we in 1.43?
Oh yeah.
When this was played.
Yeah, probably worth saying it's. I think skirmish tactics will look slightly different to this going forward. We've just had 1.5. Player bow shots are slower because of the aiming, and all units apart from archers have had a little buff in speed, from what I can tell. Is that about right?
That's my experience so far. I'm still testing things, but I'm definitely needing to relearn how the rhythm of firing a bow works. It's interesting to see here. We assumed that they would take some cavalry, so Forbes swapped out to a lancer because the horse archers would just get bullied by a couple of Mamluks.
Yeah, it's so dangerous when you're a horse archer. Just one unit of cav can absolutely shut you down. As you can see, I'm being very cautious with my boys, just parking them behind the Khans, using the Khans as a sort of. It's the only thing. The only thing you can do as a horse archer if the enemy has cavalry is A, stay out of their way, but B, when you get targeted, run to a unit with pole arms and hang around them so they can help you deal with the cavalry.
Yeah, Khan's pretty choppy though. They'll quite happily carve up a unit of lancers if you pick your charge time properly and haven't got your bow out.
So I think BTL here, they've seen 2 of our cavalry units go to A, and they've decided to bundle the whole team up there, try and catch them, try and get a few models off. But unfortunately for them, they weren't able to take any models from what I can see so far. So we're in quite a strong position. We've got 2 flags.
They're almost in the reverse of the situation they were in last time, where they've got to come out down a channel or down one of the flanks, left or right. But there's going to be Khans and horse archers everywhere, and while they're doing it, Forbes is bullying them.
He is phenomenal at ramboing and frustrating players with his solo lancing. Lancing is another thing which has been slightly nerfed, I think, in the latest patch.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems to be, the way I understand it, is much more momentum based. Lance is no longer a guaranteed one-hit kill a horse, kill a model. It's much more related to how fast you're going and how fast the horse or the enemy player is going. As far as I know, I'm not claiming I know exactly how the patch works, but that's my experience of it.
Yeah, I think my experience has been the same so far. It seems like when you lance something, it will die like 60 to 75% of the time instead of 100% of the time, which for me is a welcome change. It doesn't, it's a bit, it's how often lancing completely one-shotted things was a bit of a problem for me. But of course, it should be powerful. So I think I like the balance so far, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it does make stabbing on a horse a bit more useful or better, which is definitely interesting because stabbing, obviously, you don't just press X and wildly charge in.
I mean, I know I shouldn't say this as somebody in a clan which uses skirmishing a lot, but I'm not too upset about the changes to archery either. I suppose my biggest bugbear with that is the way you could be point blank shot when you're approaching archers with a draw time of about half a second. That always, for me, seemed Jedi level.
It was a little bit excessive. The twitchy AI turning around and shooting you straight in the face when you're behind them.
So BTL have done a good job in this sort of section, in this phase of the game, haven't they?
Oh yeah, no, they've corralled in the Khan's Guard altogether, which we were talking earlier about. You want one on one side, one on the other side, one in the front, so they have to get shot on the side. But they actually managed to kind of force us together here. But the horse archers are just kind of winding them up.
Yeah, they're getting the damage over time there, and it's not obvious yet, but pretty soon the damage that's been going in will start sort of equaling 100% of health bars. Yeah. So this is something I wanted to point out. So I've sort of clocked that I'm being tailed by these cavalry, and I've done the only thing I can, which is go to where the Khans are. Unfortunately, you're in a bit of a choke point. So as you can see, by drawing them in, the numbers, a few horses go down. You've seen the kill feed Mamluks being taken out, and it starts to take out our biggest threat, which was the Mamluks.
Yeah, again, while that's happening, you see Phil there. He's shooting all those guys that are chasing us right in the back.
I shouldn't say start to take out. To be fair, Forbes has probably been focusing on those Mamluks 100% of the time. and soloing them one by one. So he probably took them out, but most of them out. So, but that is the best way to take out cavalry as a mounted archer, is just lure them into some polearms.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a. I don't think it wasn't intentional there, but there was definitely a bit of a trap there. And you can see the Khans. These are the same Khans that were all the way on the other side of the castle, and now they're all the way over here. They've successfully escaped the guard and the tribals. And yeah, they've got to deal with some Mamluks still, but Khans don't worry too much about Mamluks, in my opinion.
I think another thing I like about the skirmish tactics is if you think about like potential damage you can do. Each unit can do a certain amount of damage per second, and the longer you preserve them, the more potential damage they can deal during a match. So actually, by skirmishing, you're increasing your potential damage, if you see what I mean, over the length of a match.
Yeah. I mean, I said to myself before, if your archers die and they've still got arrows in their quivers, then they didn't really do their job. They should, in theory, fire all their arrows before you charge in or die or whatever. I mean, Khans are a bit of an exception because they're come together.
So, do you think Britannia will be more viable now with the changes in 1.5?
The games I've played with them, they are better. Mounted warriors, because of this momentum-based kind of damage from spears, actually seem quite good. You know, I'm not saying they're going to be winning against Mamluks one-on-one, but they are better. And I really, as a man that plays a lot of line infantry, I'm really happy they gave the Oathsworn a mace, because I think it puts them on a par with sergeants and legionaries now, because they can actually beat through that armor. Whereas before, they weren't really getting anywhere. Even the axe didn't really do a lot, because the axe is more, as I understand it, the axe is better for smashing through shields, which is more of a skirmish thing, because shields and captains don't work the same as they do in single player and skirmish.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the buff is, but it's crazy. It's like 300% more health on a shield.
That's crazy, yeah.
There's the unfortunate. That was a very good shot.
That monkey taser really jumped into that one.
Yeah, I do like a leaping stab with a spear on a horseman. It's always satisfying if you can do it. But yeah, these guys are doing the right thing. They're pushing the archers, but Tim and whoever else was there, I don't know who it was, are already running away, and then they're back to chasing horse archers again.
Yeah, it's just a mop-up situation here. I think I did feel there were some discussions about ping after the match, and I did feel, I don't know if we really saw it there. There were a couple of times where, with my horse archers, I was a bit surprised I wasn't caught by their lances, and I don't know if that was my super manoeuvring ability or if there was some ping coming in there. But I think you see in the next round they give up on Cav almost entirely. Or entirely actually, and go back to a full melee build, probably as a result of that. What are your thoughts about sort of ping in these matches and what we can do about it?
It's very difficult at the moment. We need, realistically, unless they fly us all out to I don't know, a neutral third-party location.
Yeah, Iceland, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we can all fly. If we fly all the teams out to Iceland or something, that would be ideal, because it's always going to be a problem in EU. It kind of works both ways. But I think there was the Vlandia game where I think we were on an A, and I definitely noticed some things that to me were a bit odd, like hits that didn't seem to register.
Yeah, it was the reverse for us, wasn't it? We have some really good Cav players in Forbes and Dr. Phil, and in the Vlandia game, I think both of them at times went Cav and then didn't go Cav the next round, just because it was such a poor experience. But part of how it goes. I think that it'll be interesting. There's a draft tournament coming up. I think it'll be interesting, which cavalry players get picked and what ping they have, because I think that will have a good sort of big impact on the game. As you can see, BTL here, they've capped this B flag, and they're going to C. I think they're predicting that the Khans will go to C again, I think,
yes.
And are trying to sort of head them off. But I think, just turns out to be the quickest murder of a skirmisher squad I've ever seen.
Yeah, from what I remember, we did specifically say we went to C twice. We're not going to C this round. We're going to go the other way and then decide where we're going once
I mean,
we know where the
Forbes
enemy
does a fantastic job here. You see, they're all the skirmishers are trying to get into C. He baits them. He turns all their shields, and then 3 units all prepare and shoot at the same time, and they go down so quickly. It's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably half that unit were dead the first time they turned around, and now they've still got to go because they can't come out. They've got to go back, and there's 90 arrows a second flying out. Maybe not that many, but
wow. Yeah, so I guess that's exactly what we're talking about. Being able to put up the more fire angles you have, the better really for you as a team relying on range damage.
Yeah, like that was interesting there. you rode in and then went, whoa, no, I don't want to ride in.
Yeah, I saw. I wanted to scout it out. I thought they'd have a shield wall there, but it's always nice when you can dodge a javelin. So I think you actually end up baiting this whole unit out onto the bridge, or is it? Oh, it must. I thought it was you. It's obviously Kaseke.
This is Kaseke here.
I really don't know why he took his entire. Surely he saw what happened to his mate when his mate went on the bridge. I guess maybe he felt like there were less units here to get a crossfire on, but that was not actually true in the end.
Yeah, I mean, off to the left of these guys is me, probably, I don't know, 50 feet away, and just shooting them in the side. And then Kaseke's men again come back, and yes, that's my chaps over there. And it's just the same thing, really. It's very, very hard to come out of C towards B if there's archers on your left, archers on your right, archers on your front.
Yeah, and the thing is, they can't actually sit comfortably at C because our Cav players, Dr. Phil, Forbes, are just soloing them, ramboing them there. They're unable to sit pretty. They're getting all the captains are getting sort of one-shotted by the lancers there. So it's a really teams do go to C and to feel secure sometimes, I think, but actually it can be the worst place on the map to be.
Yes, it's very hard to get out without. It's very open either side as well, so you can see when they come out.
I mean, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight, but I do think in general, B is the worst exit for C because you come out at B, like I say, it instantly exposes you to multiple fire angles. It's much better to come out either spawn side because then at least you reduce the potential fire angles to 1 pretty much because you'll be coming from a single direction to the center, or a direction that only has one flank exposed to the center.
Yeah, like again, you can see. I don't know who that was on the bridge. Was it Forbes? I didn't see the kill, but yeah, he was turning their shields. They're getting shot from over here. They're getting shot from over there. They're getting shot from over there.
Yeah,
I think Kaseke's decided that he wants to blood his glaive.
He does like getting in there, Kaseke. So just a few left, and yeah, I thought overall, like I say, I think the best match of the 3 was a Valandia Empire game. You can check that on Grendel FTC's channel. I'd like to do a sort of retrospect with a BTL guy, get their perspective, but maybe we'll have to wait till after the tournament for that. But yeah, I thought this would be an interesting one to talk through, just from a perspective of skirmishing on what is usually seen as a infantry favoured map. So thank you, Scar, for your input there.
Yes, certainly interesting.
All right, well, I guess we'll call it there.